뉴욕나우. 안녕하세요. 글로벌 시장에서 통하는 투자법을 알려드리는 뉴욕나우 한국경제신문 뉴욕 특파원 강영연입니다. 요즘 기술주 가지고 계신 분들 정말 고민 많으시죠? 금리 인상 얘기 나오면서부터 엄청 떨어져서 이걸 어떻게 해야 하나 고민하실 것 같은데요. 특히 캐시우드 픽이라고 할까요? 그러니까 혁신적인 기술주들에 대한 조정이 상당한 상황입니다. 시장에서 하는 얘기 말고 진짜 기업 상황이 어떤지 좀 궁금하실 것 같은데 저는 궁금하더라고요. 그래서 직접 인터뷰를 한번 진행해 봤습니다. 오늘 만날 곳은 줌이고요. 에이브 스미스 줌 인터내셔널 비즈니스 총괄과 인터뷰를 준비했습니다. 인터내셔널 총괄은 북미 지역을 제외하고 전 세계를 관장하는 중요한 자리고요. CEO와 직접 소통하는 최고위급 경영진입니다. 이분께 팬데믹 이후에 성장성에 대한 우려가 커지는 줌에 대해서 어떻게 생각하는지 자세히 물어봤습니다. 물론 회사의 의견이라는 점에서 생각하시는 것보다 시장 이야기보다 너무 긍정적이라는 생각이 드실 수도 있을 겁니다. 하지만 동시에 다양한 의견을 듣고 투자 결정을 내리시는 데 도움이 될 거라고 생각합니다. 그럼 스미스 총괄 만나보겠습니다.
Well, I think that the future is going to change dramatically. And I think it was already happening before the pandemic. So people were finding that they needed flexibility. They wanted to have choice and that the style of communication was changing. So by that, I mean, video was becoming the new voice. If you look at Generation Z or the millennial generation, they grew up with consumer applications that use video first. That could be applications like Facebook, Snapchat, FaceTime, etc. I think as we were preparing before the pandemic, traffic was getting worse. The rise of the mega cities with more than 10 million, meant it was very difficult to travel even from one end of a city to another. And that education was changing. People were looking for ways to connect and learn remotely, again, giving choice. So I think it was an era of flexibility that was emerging. Well, the pandemic accelerated that. And the shift now is to a hybrid environment, again, where people have flexibility and choice, and they're included in any way they want to participate. So Yong, that could mean that they are connecting from their house, from a coffee shop, or from the office, in the back of a car on a remote mobile device, and they're doing it safely and securely. And if we've learned anything during the pandemic, it's that millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people said that they wanted to change. And then the majority of professional workers and students suggested they wanted choice. So thinking about that, I think that there's a whole new evolution, this era of flexibility that will create massive opportunity for people to rethink everything. Well, I think, again, people need choice. So 100% online is probably not right. And 100% face-to-face is probably not right. So I think if we look at all the meetings that we do in a given day, if we look at all the interactions that we have on a communication level, there should be choices. Some meetings should definitely be face-to-face. And sometimes you want to meet your colleagues in an office or at a restaurant or otherwise. I think there's other times when we want to have the convenience and the flexibility and the choice to meet however we want. Now, Zoom also believes that that should be video. We think, again, video is the best way to get to know somebody and to meet like this. On the other hand, we give you flexibility of choice to do things like Zoom phone, which is a way to interact and communicate through voice only, and then switch to a video call if you desire or need. Sometimes maybe I would want to connect with somebody through chat, and that's a great way to use Zoom chat or other tools. So communication should be connected. It should be unified. So if I'm in my office at home, or I walk into an office back in a building, I should be able to connect very easily with a single click, touch, or a voice command, or even a control through my mobile device. So I think it's that kind of unified connection, flexibility that is so important for people today. Well, first of all, Zoom is very profitable. In fact, the company has been profitable very early in our existence, actually around the time that we went public with an IPO in 2019. Our cash position is very strong, more than $5 billion in cash, which gives us a great position to continue to grow and invest. At the same time, we've always been very focused on how we spend our money. We believe in being conservative and modest in our approach, but we are very aggressive. The business continues to grow at an exceptionally strong pace. Today we have more than 500,000 customers, paying customers of 10 employees or more. And those are very powerful. In fact, more than 2,500 of those customers are large enterprises that spend more than $100,000 per year in annual recurring revenue. So, we're in a very strong financial position. And actually, we find that many analysts are very bullish on the future because work, education, and life is changing, which means the opportunity for business for Zoom is very, very broad and robust. Now, we also believe that we need to expand our products, Zoom Phone, Zoom Rooms, Zoom Events, Zoom Applications, a variety of different offerings that can appeal to the same customer or new ones, which address large markets. And these create unique opportunities for Zoom. So we're actually very bullish on the future. And we also believe that many in the market see the same thing. But we're the toughest on ourselves. Zoom believes in actually pushing ourselves the hardest, not measuring ourselves by day-to-day analyst reactions. Right. So, first of all, Zoom has impacted many verticals. So you mentioned telemedicine. Think about how you might have a clinical meeting with your doctor. Today, during the pandemic, or in general, it's very difficult sometimes to go physically to see your doctor. Now we can receive medical advice and medical prescription information remotely using Zoom, which is very powerful. There are other verticals which find a lot of use in Zoom, things like financial services. So most of the leading banks around the world use Zoom. And of course, education. So education is changing forever. Students are digitally connected, whether they're college or university students, or even today, primary or secondary students benefit from Zoom as well. But specifically to the products that you mentioned, you're right. Zoom is expanding broadly into all kinds of unified communication products. So for example, our Zoom Phone product was one of the fastest growing cloud phone products ever in the history of cloud phone or cloud PBX. So in the first 7 quarters of releasing Zoom Phone, we sold more than 1 million seats of the product. And then 2 quarters later, we sold another 1 million seats. So from 0 to 2 million seats in 9 quarters is extremely fast. And with that kind of success, we were very excited to launch our Zoom Events platform. So think about all of the large events that you might hold, corporate events, religious events, they could be celebrations, they could be all kinds of events where you want a large group of people to come together. 5,000 people, 10,000 people, 50,000 people. In some cases, we've hosted hundreds of thousands of people. So for example, 250,000 people were hosted in Thailand for a religious celebration, the Moon Festival with the Thai monks, or in Indonesia, where we hosted more than 300,000 people for the president of Indonesia's address on digital literacy. That's the kind of things that you can do on Zoom events, which are extremely powerful. Of course, we look towards other areas that we will grow, areas like contact center, where we've announced the launch of our video engagement center, and other applications like Zoom Chat, Zoom apps, and otherwise. So when you look at this broadening portfolio, there are so many choices for customers now to use Zoom the way they want, how they want, with different modalities, whether that's chat, large events, room systems, phone systems, or our core meeting products. Correct. And we look at the total business. So when we report our earnings, Young, we talk about the total earnings of the company. We don't typically break it out by vertical or by product. We focus on the success and the total of the company as a whole. All of these products contribute to the profitability and the success of Zoom, and they allow us to diversify and grow over time. Well, it's interesting because I actually think it's a bit of the opposite, and I'll tell you why. All of Zoom is powered by a single client. It's the same software. So in the meeting like this, where we're doing a desktop meeting, you're on a desktop, I'm on a desktop device, we're using the Zoom client. If we were in a large event, we would use the same Zoom client for 50,000 people. And if we're on a chat experience where we're using real-time chat, I can do that all through the Zoom client, either on a mobile device or a desktop device or otherwise. So, we're drawing on the same technology that is interconnected through what we call unified communications. So we try to leverage the power, and we try to look at the ways that a customer can benefit from the total experience. And we draw on the same technology. And we have a very, very strong engineering team that is very proficient in building features and products. For example, last year we released more than 400 unique features to the market, which is extremely aggressive. And as we launched into 2022, we announced some very exciting features around workplace. We announced new features around productivity tools like whiteboarding. We discussed new applications that were announced just several months ago at our Zoomtopia event, which we're now going live to the market in early 2022. Yeah, well, it's interesting. When we launched the company 10 years ago, so Zoom is now 10 years old. In fact, we just celebrated our 10th birthday. When we launched the company 10 years ago, it was a very crowded space then. There were many companies that provided video like Microsoft or like Google or others that had been in the business for years, including Cisco and WebEx and others. So video is not new, but we disrupted the market then, and we focused on one thing: being the best we can be. So making an experience that worked every time, that was consumer-like, that had beautiful quality. We provided an incredible customer experience, and we also did it at a very affordable rate. In fact, for many users, they can use Zoom for free, and they have. Hundreds of millions of people use Zoom for free around the world, millions and millions. So, we think the formula is powerful. And as we continue to add new products like Zoom Phone, like Zoom Events, like Zoom Rooms, like Zoom Chat, like Zoom Applications, this diversity of tools sets Zoom apart because Zoom natively builds these products to work together. We don't look at cobbled assets that we try to blend. At the same time, we believe in an open ecosystem so that applications can work together. There are thousands of applications that integrate with Zoom, from Microsoft to Google to ServiceNow to Okta to Box to Dropbox to Salesforce to DocuSign. All of these integrated products make for a better integrated experience through what we call the Zoom marketplace. So the combination, we think, is very powerful. Well, sure. So as I mentioned before, in just 1 year, we added approximately 70,000, 80,000 paying customers of 10 employers or more, 10 employees or more. And we almost doubled the customers to 2,500 customers that are spending $100,000 or more. So the large enterprises. So there's a large base that has typically one or maybe two products from Zoom, and can continue to grow and use more of the Zoom suite and portfolio if they enjoy the brand and if they like our products and they like our company. So we think there's a lot more that we can provide to our existing customer base. At the same time, you're right, there are tremendously new markets. South Korea is a market, for example, that we invested heavily in at the end of 2021. And as we go into 2022, we will be committed to Korea, as we have been across APAC. So APAC has experienced very strong growth in places like Japan, in Southeast Asia, ASEAN, India, Australia, New Zealand. So all of these markets represent strong international growth internationally in EMEA, APAC, and LATAM. And that is still a priority for the company as we go into the new year in 2022. So lots of markets that we can address, more that we can invest and develop in places like Korea and throughout APAC, EMEA, and Latin America. So I think there's plenty of areas that we haven't even begun to develop that are ripe for investment and growth. Right. So I can't comment on world economics and on the political situation that is out of our control. In fact, we believe we can only control ourselves, and we need to focus on making Zoom better every day, 1% better every day. That said, this is a unique moment in history. It's a unique moment in history because the workplace will shift forever. The education divide will get closer through digital connections like Zoom. We feel that people will be able to communicate flexibly at a personal and professional level through a single web browser on a simple client generated by Zoom. So because of that, I actually think that there's massive opportunity for growth. Now, that takes time. This is a shift that won't happen in one day. Markets will go high, markets will go low. Zoom must stay focused and committed on our core premise. And that core premise is to allow people to communicate flexibly, easily, and in a way that is enjoyable every time. So we believe that Zoom will become the video operating system for your life. Everywhere you go, you need video, whether it's an exercise class, whether it's a clinical meeting with your doctor, whether it's a professional session in the boardroom, or whether it's a personal birthday party, all of that can and should be powered by Zoom. That is a massive market opportunity.
Okay.
And we have to be Well, sure. So, look, we saw tremendous growth in the last 18 to 24 months. I mean, growth that we could have never expected this quickly. And there were millions of people that relied on Zoom every day. And we delivered a safe, secure, flexible product that worked every time. The performance was incredible when people needed it the most. Now, security has always been first and foremost for Zoom. You have to remember that our core business model is servicing business-to-business clients. So large global banks, that could include large global retailers, that includes government agencies that rely on secure, safe experiences. And we're very, very experienced at delivering that kind of outcome. Now, during 2021 and during 2020, we were focused on advancing our security position. We added new leadership. Our Chief Information Security Officer, Jason Lee, came from Salesforce. We built better protocol and practice around security. We made acquisitions. We acquired a company called Keybase to help us accelerate our position in end-to-end security or network security. We forced a new protocol like passwords and waiting rooms on our single user and free accounts so that it was easier and safer for people to have a secure locked experience. We helped with more than 400 features, and we focused on core features that benefited security in 2021 and in 2020. And we'll continue to do that forever. Of course, thank you. Well, first of all, we think Zoom is essential also. So thank you for that comment. It has powered the way that people connect and stay connected during this challenging pandemic time. Beyond the pandemic, we feel that people need ways to interact at work, through education, through health, medicine, and personally. So we'll continue to focus on that. We think that the way Zoom becomes available will expand through reach with our channel partners. So through unique partners, we can reach more customers faster. We also believe that Zoom will integrate into just about any experience. So what we call Zoom apps. There's two ways that applications work. Applications can integrate into us, or we can integrate into applications. So that means that everywhere you go, it should be a simple click to safely and securely launch a video experience. That could be within your workplace applications. That could be within your personal applications. That could be within your application on your phone that you use for your gym app or otherwise. So We believe that tighter integrations through our marketplace and our Zoom apps is real important. And we also see that there will be new use cases for Zoom. That could mean one day flying in an airplane, 10,000 feet above the ground and experiencing a video session in the plane. Or in the future with autonomous driving cars, imagine a time where the car becomes a conference room and Zoom can be part of that experience. So that's all through our SDKs and our developer platform. People can use Zoom very extensively. But today we're very focused on how people advance through meetings, how they advance through phone, large events, room systems, chat client, and integrations with our apps. So, in 2022, we're going to stay very concentrated on continuing to grow our core businesses, focusing on unified communication, hybrid workplaces, and then also productivity applications to benefit one another. Of course. So, as I mentioned earlier, we have a strong cash position. Zoom has been very successful growing our business organically. We develop the best products in the world for unified communications, and we want to do that, continue to do that, and we also want to continue to expand, and we realize that might be organically or inorganically. To date, we've already made 3 acquisitions. We've acquired a company called Keybase, as I mentioned earlier. We also acquired a company called Kites and Liminal, which is a recent acquisition that we made. So, we've shown our ability and desire to acquire. We do have a strong cash position, and we're willing to consider other acquisitions if they are right for the company. So we have a corporate development division in Zoom that focuses on that activity, and we welcome partnerships and connections. In fact, we launched a $100 million Zoom app fund, which is designed to invest in companies that develop and grow applications for Zoom. So anywhere from $200,000 to more than $2 million in investment. We made our first 12 investments already in the Zoom app fund. And we hope the next great investment comes in Korea. So please tell us that we would love to see a great company from Korea build applications for Zoom and invest through our Zoom app fund.